The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Though granular lockdowns have yet to receive formal approval from the President, some barangays in Caloocan will be placed under the strict quarantine category due to local COVID-19 surges. Arian Calumbiran with the details.
Nagpapaalala po kami na magkakaroon ng granular lockdown.
This was the reminder of barangay personnel for residents of Parkland Barangay 177 in North Caloocan. Barangay officials wore PPEs as they go from house to house, informing families in the area about the restrictions.
Kami po ay nag-iikot sa mga bahay-bahay upang ipaalam sa kanila na magkakaroon sila ng granular lockdown. Ngayong araw na ito, 7 days, sir.
The reason for the granular lockdown implementation in Parkland is a surge in COVID cases that supposedly started in a compound. The virus was allegedly carried by a man who went back to his home in a compound after work, not knowing that he had already been infected. The virus was then transmitted to 3 other members of his family, and soon enough, it spread to other households in the compound.
Yung lugar po, isa lang po yung labasan at pasukan. So iskinita, talagang pag nagsalubungan kayo, parehas kayo tatagilid, halos nagkadikit na ayo.
The 4 initially did not come forward to admit their situation, reason why it was not acted upon immediately, and members of 19 other families ended up getting the virus.
Parang itinago. Siguro nung nalaman na sila na na positive na talaga sila, nung marami nang nahawa na.
The Barangay Health Emergency Response Team said 20 individuals out of the 19 families tested positive for COVID-19 based on their RT-PCR test results. Other residents of Parkland were also tested and are awaiting results while their area is under granular lockdown. Around 2,000 families are affected by the lockdown. This means no one is allowed to leave their homes or to continue business operations in the area. Even authorized persons outside residences or APORs are not spared.
Sarado talaga lahat dito ba lumabas. Bali isang linggo kang walang kita. Pero ganun talaga, kaysa naman magkasakit ka ng ano.
Residents of Parkland are now scrambling to buy food supplies to last the 7-day lockdown.
Siguro may bibigay din na pagkain dito sa amin. Kasi may nag-ikot naman na kanina, kinukuha yung mga names.
The barangay said they will also provide food to affected residents. Caloocan City currently has a little over 3,000 active COVID-19 cases. According to the City Epidemiology Surveillance Unit, 3 barangays in North Caloocan are currently under granular lockdown and there's 5 in South Caloocan. Arian Calumbiran, we are One News.
Resorts in Batangas continue their appeal to the government to allow them to reopen for tourists from the NCR+. The owners say employees are the ones most affected by losses incurred from lockdowns. Laila Pangilinan with the details.
The president of the Resort Owners Association in Mabini, Batangas, got the chance to talk to the IATF and tourism officials regarding their plea to allow resorts in the area to reopen. Resort owners said they want to welcome travelers from the NCR Plus area while strictly implementing health and safety protocols.
Sumulat ako muli kay Secretary Berna at nakikiusap po ako na kay Madam Tourism Secretary na hindi naman po galing sa tourism sector yung pagkakaroon ng transmission kasi po talaga napakahigpit namin when it comes to accepting guests. Sana naman po ay bigyan muli kami ng pagkakataon na makapagbukas kahit na po ang Manila ay nasa sa MGCQ. Di namin na hindi naman talaga nanggagaling sa turismo ang mga transmission ng disease dahil po talaga kami napakaingat dito sa Mabini, Batangas.
Residents in Batangas and those from GCQ areas are only allowed to stay in the resorts in Mabini.
Kapag ka naman po dito lang sa Batangas area, that means province of Batangas at ilang GCQ na probinsya, pwede namang pumasok provided na meron kang mga tinatawag natin na safety protocols sa sinusunod. Yung RT-PCR na negative, swab antigen na negative po, at saka reservation sa mga hotel.
They said that resorts in Batangas have incurred millions in losses 2 years into the pandemic.
2.53 billion already in revenues around Mabini sa mga resort po yan. Kasi po talagang talaga pong masasabi natin na bumalik sa pagiging primitive ang pamamaraan pagdating sa scuba diving, pagdating sa resort, pagdating sa sa turismo. Nasa sa 60% po ng populasyon ng Anilao, Mabini, Batangas ay karamihan ay sa turismo umaasa ng pagkakabuhayan. At ito po ay talagang naapektuhan dahil sa pagsasara ngayon ng mga resort.
Aside from resort owners, employees working in the resorts were not spared from the impact of the lockdowns. Among them is Almira, a part of the housekeeping staff in one of the resorts.
Napakahirap po ng ganito pong sitwasyon ng pandemic. Sobra po kasi sa totoo lang po, syempre marami po kaming resort na wala pong trabaho, tulad din po namin.
However, the local government of Mabini is still undecided whether to allow these resorts to welcome NCR Plus visitors or not.
You are looking in the health and safety protocol and at the same time, the economic effects nito pong COVID-19 virus. Na alam namin na ang Metro Manila talaga is directly affected din po eh. Nangangamba po kami sa pagkakataong ito na baka yung mga visitors coming from the NCR, sila yung maging carrier ng virus dito po, hindi lang sa aming bayan, kundi sa buong probinsya ng Batangas.
The Resort Owners Association in Mabini is also asking the LGU to vaccinate their staff to ensure their safety as they welcome visitors coming from different areas. This will also assure guests that they are safe while staying in their resorts. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, We Are One News.
Vice President Leni Robredo hits back at President Duterte over the latter's supposed lame attempt to divert the public's attention from the Farmally controversy. This as Duterte repeatedly brought up the issue of his predecessor supposedly buying more expensive PPEs even before the health crisis. During her weekly radio show, Robredo defended the previous administration's move, saying that their procurement went through public bidding.
Parang napaka-lame attempt naman ito para i-divert yung usapan. Yung una. Ang number 2, ang kaibahan noon sa ngayon, yun, aside from the fact na high-end yun, etc., dumaan yun sa public bidding.
Yes, tama.
Dumaan yun sa public bidding. So, parang wala itong, hindi ito gaya ngayon na basta lang nag-award. Pangatlo, yung supplier, matagal na siyang, parang established na siya. 1980s pa, established na siya na ito na yung negosyo niya.
The Health Department says 14 billion pesos worth of benefits have been disbursed to healthcare workers as of September 3. The amount covers the period from September 15 to December 19 for period 1 and December 20 last year to June 30, 2021 for period 2. About 6.4 billion pesos were released for the first period for the hazard pay of over 384,000 medical frontliners and the SRA of about 306,000 health workers. Around 103,000 medical personnel also received 990.9 million pesos worth of allowances for meals, accommodations, and transportation for period 1. On the other hand, almost 7 billion pesos worth of SRAs were disbursed for more than 379,000 healthcare workers for period 2. About 32,000 of them were also covered with life insurance worth 16 million pesos, while 570 million pesos worth of checks have also been released to over 24,000 medical personnel as COVID-19 sickness and death compensation. Meanwhile, the DOH insists that their procurement of medical-grade ambulances was compliant with licensing standards and has undergone competitive bidding. The department made this clarification after Senator Ping Lacson claimed that the agency bought overpriced ambulances worth 1 million pesos each. The DOH explained that vehicle insurance, LTO registration, and end-user training were included in the procurement of the ambulances, and that's on top of the vehicle being fitted with basic life support equipment. The 2020 Paralympics ended in Tokyo on Sunday after nearly 2 weeks of awe-inspiring performances by athletes from around the world. Following on the Tokyo Olympics, the Paralympics passed off without a major COVID-19 outbreak as Japan successfully hosted back-to-back events inside their bubble. Afghanistan athletes Zakia Zudadi and Hussein Rasuli were able to attend the closing ceremony. And the next Paralympic Games will take place in Paris in 2024. Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The country logged over 20,000 new COVID-19 cases for 3 straight days. Philippine Airlines files for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. And Kobe Paras is the latest Filipino player to join Japan's B-League. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.